So Lee Fang, an investigative journalist over at The Intercept, posted a video on Twitter of Nancy Pelosi advocating and supporting Medicare for all. Interesting. Take a look and then we'll talk about it.
By reasons of security, by reasons of savings, savings that spring also from the simplicity of the program, savings which spring from early intervention, people seeking and receiving health care earlier in the game so that they don't have more costly health care and hospital stays. Everything points to Mr. McDermott's bill. It is interesting to see how under scrutiny, when people really take the look at these bills, how brilliantly the single-payer plan stands out. And I think it's a tribute to Mr. McDermott's endurance that he has kept this issue alive when others did not think it was so, shall we say, inevitable. In any event, I hope that the committee, I join my colleagues in requesting from the committee the opportunity for this bill to be considered as a substitute under the rule. It has support in my community. It has support across the country. It has support in this Congress. I hope it does on this committee as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Wow. I didn't even know that this video existed, so I'll read to you more of his tweet. It's really a thread. So he says, Nancy Pelosi previously sponsored single-payer Medicare for all style health reform. In 1994, she demanded a vote on it. It is interesting to see how under scrutiny, when people really take a look at these bills, how brilliantly the single-payer plan stands out, Pelosi said. Given the recent discourse around this topic, surprised no one has pointed this out. Pelosi sponsored the single-payer bill, even serving as the pitch person, introducing it at committees, appearing on TV to argue for it, makes basically all the same points as Bernie does today. I advocate for a single-payer system, and I would like to see us move in that direction, Pelosi said on September the 23rd, 1993. I am pleased to be here with my colleagues in support of a single-payer approach to healthcare reform. Pelosi said that on February the 2nd, 1994, before the Energy and Commerce Committee. Now, he also points out it's not just Pelosi. Dozens of state-level Dems in California, Howard Dean, Obama, Ted Kennedy, etc., have said they support single-payer when out of power to rally left-wing voters before backing away when in power. It's become an empty slogan for many. Now, he also points out that Pelosi's single-payer bill in 1993 had 90 co-sponsors. The current one that AOC was flaunting has 118 co-sponsors. Now, let's get into this. So, this is a common trend that you see with politicians on the left. They champion Medicare for all when they're not in power, as he just stated, and when they're in power, they lose it and they run away from it, and it no longer becomes something that they support, which is extremely interesting. Now, let's just go down the list for a second, and we can name plenty of names. Let's just name a couple. Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete says that the ideal, or he used to say that the ideal healthcare system would be something like the NHS, which we know is all public, public funding of public institutions, right? And so, but now you ask, and that's not his position. Like on the campaign trail, I can't remember what exactly his position was, but it was like, it definitely wasn't Medicare for all. He just jumped out of that lane entirely, and he started advocating for something else. They'll switch their slogans to something like, we want affordable health care, or something like that. Like you see John Ossoff right now. Is it John Ossoff? Man, I'm losing it today. But Ossoff, whatever the guy's name is, who's running for one of the Georgia runoff seats, he keeps tweeting out constantly, healthcare is a right, healthcare is a right. Joe Biden tweets out, healthcare is a right, healthcare is a right. And it gets thousands and thousands of likes and retweets. And people on the left that are in the know rightfully point out, like, wait a minute, you oppose Medicare for all. Joe Biden said if it came to his desk, he'd veto it. Why are you saying healthcare is a right if that's not actually what you believe in? Because it sells. It gets people to support you and vote for you because that's what they want. 88% of the Democratic base of Democrats want Medicare for all, but not even half of the Democratic representatives in Congress support it. So it's a very weird situation. I mean, you had Kamala Harris who supported Bernie's Medicare for All. She fell off of it on the campaign trail, and now she surely doesn't support it, being vice president for Joe Biden. You know, um, the list goes on of sellouts that supported Medicare for All, and now they don't. And it's just it's a combination of things, but the biggest thing is they get into this corrupt system. And they start taking money from these people, the big health insurance companies, big pharma, things of that nature. Joe Biden's a huge recipient of big pharma money, and so you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and so they start to do the bidding of these donors, leaving their constituents behind, and it's a very sad thing to see. Brianna Joy Gray points out here in a tweet, Cori Bush primaried and defeated a Democrat who was one of the 118 co-sponsors of Medicare for All, and we rightly celebrated her for it. The idea that the H.R. 1384 co-sponsor list is a sacred scroll of allies that tells us everything we need to know is silly. As you could probably remember, during this whole force to vote thing, AOC pulled out the co-sponsor list like, oh, we already know who's supported. No, we don't. No, we don't. Forced to vote. Do it now. Do it yesterday. Do it last week. We need to do this right now. And that's why this is so important, because we have countless examples of people that say they support it, but then when they get in power, now all of a sudden they don't support it anymore. I mean, and I'm not going to go as far as to say you see it in the progressives and the Justice Democrats, but because you don't. Or at least at the very least, you can see that they agree with us on the idea, but they're not necessarily fighting for it. Some people will argue, because like I said, this whole force to vote thing that's going on right now, AOC's obviously not in support of it, right? She doesn't want to pressure Nancy Pelosi to bring vote for Medicare for All down to the floor. So that's effectively not fighting for something that your constituents want and something that you say you want. So I just thought this was very interesting, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. If you have a different reason from mine of why they run away from this position and many other positions when they actually get in power, when they lobbied for it so hard, when they didn't really have the power. And there's a lot of stories about Nancy Pelosi and how corrupt she became once she actually, gained a little bit of power in politics. And I don't want to go down that road, but this is very interesting, and it's honestly really sad, and hopefully things will change.